What's up guys, it's me Ali, and today I'm bringing you my Whirlwind Endgame guide for Lord of Hatred expansion. Whirlwind has been performing extremely well this season. It's one, if not the best Barb build right now, especially speed farming. Speed farming, it is the best build. Even for pushing, it might still be the best build, I'm fairly certain it is. But we'll see how the meta develops. Regardless, it's one of the best builds in the game as well. I believe currently the only stronger build is a Sorc build that's also bugged, so that might get patched soon. And Barbarian will be the king again, Whirlwind will be the king again. Really excited to see that. But yeah, when it comes to the build, it has been able to easily speed farm Pit 100, like 1 minute, below 1 minute 30. I'm fairly certain it can even do below 1 minute with like the right layout and a good clear. And it can easily farm Pit 12 bosses once you get all the gear going, even without getting like a big mythics, you can still farm them. With mythics, they die in 5 to 10 seconds most, with the sole exception of Gocha, with the sole exception of Butcher. Butcher, for some reason or another, is basically 2 tiers harder, so it's basically a T14 boss for some odd reason. I'm not 100% sure if that's like a Barb only thing, maybe some of our stuff doesn't work on that fight for some reason. I do not know. The main thing is, if you get Butcher on your war plan, go down to T10 to kill him fast. It is what it is, you know, that's a Blizz issue kind of thing. But yeah, this build is performing really well. One thing I do want to point out before we get into the build guide, and also the reason why I waited to make the build guide, because the video build guide, because I already had the build guide out. But the reason I waited was because there was something sketchy going on. I mean, I'm saying sketchy, I know exactly what was going on. Daytrick and Zubai were the ones pushing hardest, and I was talking with them, so I know exactly what's going on here. Melted Heart of Selig and Endurance Faith are having a weird interaction where they just end up giving you an insane amount of resource. Now, normally this with the Selig build just means you're immortal, right? Which is all well and good. That means you can run a couple more multipliers instead of life, which is really good, right? That being said, that's not the thing that was making the big difference. Limitless Rage does not have a cap. And Selig, with this thing here, not Selig, sorry, Limitless Rage was getting up to 10k plus stacks. I was talking to Zubai, I can't remember if it was Zubayashi or Daytrick, and they told me they even once gotten 80k stacks, right, on that thing. That's 80k stacks with 3% multi, that's 8, 16, 24, right? 24,000 multiplier from a single aspect. As you might imagine, that was way too broken and they had to disable. Now, the bug is not with Limitless Rage itself, it's between Melted Heart of Selig and Endurance Fate. However, if they went and disabled one of these two, to affect other classes and it would potentially get someone on hardcore killed, so they ended up disabling Limitless Rage because it only affects Barbs and it's an offensive aspect, so there's no big risk there. For now, my build guides are updated to not be running Limitless Rage. Whenever it comes back out, and if it's still good, they don't put like a cap of 50 stacks or something on it, right? If it's still a good one, I'm gonna reintroduce it into the build, so look out on the written guide or even the comment section down below. If it has been returned to us, I will leave a pinned comment there, you know, telling you. But even if the video is a bit outdated, then just check the written guide. We're just basically gonna be swapping aspects around, no big deal, right? Now, actually getting into the meat and potatoes, right? When it comes to the build, there's a big thing I want to shout out. We have the mythics and stuff like that. The mythics are not that big of a deal. They give you good damage, of course. They increase your damage, but you can run this build without mythics and still be doing like I would say 60%, maybe 70% of the damage even without the mythics. You still do a lot of damage. You can still get T12 without the mythics and potentially even farm T12, assuming you get other better gear. But the one thing that's kind of really mandatory for you to easily run this build, for you to go from the starter version that I have of the build to the Ancestral or the mid-game now, what you call them, or even potentially the endgame one, is having a parity bolts. I don't really care what stats they have, just make sure they have like strength and life. The other two, whatever, you don't care. And not even the effect. As you can see, the one I have here is the lowest effect, because Default Will currently I don't think is dropping from any boss. That might also be a bug. Regardless, that's not going on tangent. Default Will now gives you 50% resource per second while you are unstoppable and for 5 seconds after. So that's kind of the reason we are running Iron Skin. I'm also when I'm doing bosses, I just run the wolves here. When I'm like speed farming and stuff like that, I run teleport, because the teleport rune, as you will be able to see here, the Jah rune. Where's the Jah? There we go. See the Jah rune here. Whenever you teleport, you also become unstoppable, so that procs the bolts much more easily than Iron Skin. At that point, if you don't want the barrier from Iron Skin, you can drop it, you can run lunging or something if you want, but you know, that's an option if you want. Regardless, you can just, this will give you all the resource. By the way, we are running a Crown Evolution, and this still, together with your Rallying Cry, gives you more than like, I think it's 100 and something resource per second, right? It's completely ridiculous. You will not ever need any other source of resource. You just gotta keep Iron Skin on cooldown. You must use it on cooldown. You gotta get some cooldown on your gear to help with that, right? You just gotta be pressing it on cooldown and pressing Rallying Cry every 7 or so seconds. Other than that, you just spin and you win by just using your cooldowns to do damage, right? Double Shout, they both give you damage. Berserking, of course, you know exactly why it gives you damage. Challenging Shout has a node that applies a debuff on your enemies. It's not being shown here for some reason. It applies a debuff on your enemies that makes them take increased damage, 20% increased damage. We'll see that in a second. But yeah, that's basically the core of the build, how the build works. Now let's actually go do a little deep dive like I like to do. If you just want the build, link down in the description down below for the written guide if you just want to see like what stats go where and whatnot, right? But yeah, when it comes to the skill tree here for us, of course, full points into Whirlwind, take the spec for the stabbles, take the cost damage bonus. Again, you're not lacking Fury. If you're a bit early on and you still for some reason have a bit of Fury issues here and there, just take the movement speed one. You'll do slightly less damage, but you'll be a bit faster as well. By the way, movement speed, you can get up to 282 movement speed with Whirlwind. For some reason, we can go over the 200% gap. It is what it is, right? Other than that, the other two shout, the shouts over here, we're gonna be taking booming. This is increasing our resource generation. This is giving us an insane resource generation, basically, buffing the resource we get from T-Bolt. Then we're extending its duration. You can alternatively run the Fortify. This build does have a severe lack of source of Fortify. We have enough to benefit from the damage, but if you want like a bigger source of Fortify, just take this node instead of the duration. You just have to cast it more often. The other one, just increase effectiveness, really good, especially if you're playing in a group. The other shout, Challenging Shout, really good defensive. That's not really the reason we are running it. It's really good defensive, but the reason we are running it, and for some reason I was testing this to make sure this thing was working, and I forgot to enable it again. So I've been missing a lot of damage, and I've still been speed farming everything. But yeah, you put the point here for the damage, you put the point here to extend this duration, which is really nice, and you take this one because you might as well, you know, you're not really running it for the damage reduction, but you might as well have a bit more damage reduction. This node here, by the way, the 20% is only for the damage of the Challenging Shout itself. Sadly, it's not a debuff like this one. It is what it is. The other shout, of course, Warcry. Take this to increase its buff and give you berserking, real nice. Gives ferocity. Ferocity gives you attack speed bonus, which does scale the Whirlwind. I'm not 100% sure if it scales to the stablet. I believe so, but we can't really scale attack speed. We don't have slots for that. And your extended duration. The other skill, of course, Iron Skin. Really important here. Make sure to take the unstoppable node. Get the attack speed, because why not? And then increase max life, again, because why not? You can take resolve if you want. This one here can also take the weakened, but those are the ones I prefer. They are not really set in stone. Lastly, our ultimate, Call of the Ancients, will give you way more damage than Wrath of the Berserker, for two reasons. First of all, you can cast it almost 2 times in the time it takes for Wrath of the Berserker to come off cooldown. They both last 10 seconds, so yeah. But Call of the Ancients gives you way more damage, 15% attack speed, 20% damage increase, and down here this is a 24 damage increase. Wrath of the Berserker, however, increases your berserking bonus from 25 to 50, which is, by the way, it's not even a 25% damage bonus, and other than that, as you can see, doesn't really give you any sort of damage multiplier. So it's not as, when it comes to raw damage, Call of the Ancients is just way better. It also has way better uptime. It's just by default better, right? When it comes to our Paragon here, the Paragon is not 100% set in stone, and I'm gonna cover why, like the things I'm trying to upgrade on the build. But again, just check the written guide. It's always gonna be up to date whenever I change something. For now, I'm running Martial. We're gonna cover why I'm running Martial instead of something else in a second. We're running Exploit for the weekend. This is especially good for speed farming. Whenever I do pushing, I might swap that one out. We'll see. When it comes to here, Ire, we're gonna be running, this is just basically for a bunch of additive. Then we're gonna be running Twister, of course, big damage, and we're running Might on this one. All the notes, as you can see, Flawless Technique, big damage, Warbringer, big damage, and all sorts of Fury. It's not that big, but it is what it is. The other one, Carnage, attack speed and damage. And lastly, Blood Rage, of course, 60% damage is quite big. Almost forgot. The reason we are even running Martial, even though our cooldowns on Shouts are quite big, is simply because it's one of those nodes that just buffs the magic nodes around you. And we are just running so many nodes that want us to put points in them, like Exploit, which will potentially be Wrath, like Twister, like Ire, which will potentially become the Crusher we talked about, right? That we just run out of points. Martial, and by addition Might, but Might carries its weight by itself, right? They just take a couple of points around them. You just gotta take the blue nodes and activate them, which we normally just do by pathing around them, right? And they'll give you an insane amount of additive. When it comes to our gear, I'm just gonna quickly over it, make sure to stop. Remember, the stats I have here, they're not necessarily the best. I'm just running with what I have. Make sure to check the written guide for the stat breakdown. I'm gonna be updating it every time I figure out something that might be 1 or 2% more damage. I'm gonna be updating the guide itself, the written one. So make sure to check that one to get the actual stats, because right now, so much changed. We don't exactly know how everything is mapping out, so even if I tell you what stats I'm running today, they might, like 2 days from now, I might realize, like by doing math and stuff like that, right, that something else is better, so just make sure to check the written guide. The aspects itself, for the most part, are gonna stay like this. However, whenever the Limitless Rage does come back, we will, you know, try to implement it into the build. Now, as you can see here, I have a Starless here, and I'm not running Starless. The reason I'm not running Starless is because, first of all, you can get aspects that give you more damage than the Starless. Second of all, because of all the resource we have, we don't actually need the resource cost reduction of Starless. And third of all, as you can see, Starless only has attack speed, critical strike chance, and core skills. Those are not bad stats, by the way. They are very decent, especially crit chance can be really hard for you to get your hands on this season. If you get this one early, you can use it, it's very decent, but once you start getting a ring like this one, right, that just has crit damage multi, all damage multi, vuln damage multi, and either strength or crit chance if you need a crit chance, it will just be better than a Starless every single day. So it is what it is. It's gonna be the first season that we don't really want to run a Starless on Whirlwind build. It's not bad, but it's not optimal. So until you get like a good ring, like something like this one, you can run Starless. It's not that big of a difference, okay? And if it makes your life easier and it plays better, Whirlwind has way too much damage, right? you can speed farm pit 100. You don't need more damage, like... okay, we always need more damage, but like, if it makes the build play better for you when you're not pushing, just quickly swap the rings. It's a really easy thing to swap, and you won't really feel the, you know, you won't really feel it missing. And if it plays better for you and you have a better time, just run Starless. It's a really good quality of life, right? Now, going over, okay, we can actually go over the, like, I don't even bother covering Mercenaries. It's the same. By the way, this one, you're just running her right here, right? And right now I'm running Subo simply because I was leveling him up, but you should be running... Where's the other guy? The demon guy, right? Just run the demon guy with the damage reduction. That's about it. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about when it comes to the future plans for this build and for pushing, because the general build is gonna stay like this, but for pushing, the thing I'm looking at right now is getting anger management on your amulet, because you can get the second aspect on your amulet. You cannot get all aspects. It's a very restricted list, but you can get anger management, and by getting anger management there, you can start running Earth Striker, which means you get access to overpower. But you might be thinking, yeah, but Whirlwind cannot overpower, right? You're right, Whirlwind cannot overpower. But overpower doesn't really work the same way as it did in Season 12. It's not about who or what can overpower, it's just about having an overpower stack. It's kind of like PoE charges. If you have played PoE 2, you kind of know what that is, right? If you have charges, sometimes abilities can consume those charges to deal more damage. Sometimes just by having charges, you gain slightly more damage. We're using it for the second reason, right? Because first of all, you have big additives that you can get by running this. So on our gloves and even our rings and stuff like that, we can be running damage per overpower charge, which is much better than the other sources. Not only that, you have something here, which is a big multiplier. When we come here to the Paragon, really big multiplier here is gonna be Crusher. Where's that? Crusher here. This is a 20% multi. For context, most of them are 10. Another one that's very good, which is Executioners, is a 15. Crushers is a 20. Not only that, it also gives you a bunch of additive if you're wielding a mace, which you are, right? We're using 200 mace, by the way, I forgot to tell you this, but I think it's pretty obvious since the weapon damage was there, right? We're using 200 mace for our damage. Well, this is just an easy 20% multiplier, a ton of additive, another 15 or so multiplier once you actually level it up, but to use it, you need to be able to generate overpower. Now, how are we gonna generate overpower? As we talked about, Earth Strikers, but you need to do weapon swapping. So what you'll be doing is just running lunging with the upgrade that makes it a bigger travel skill that has a 2-second cooldown. You just cast it, and every 4 or so seconds to get the overpower, and you just get these stacks for free, and you can just keep doing that to increase damage. Now you might say, yeah, stopping to lunging, won't that lose us damage? It does lose you a bit of damage, but you can easily gain that damage back. Not only that, that alone might not be enough to do all of these shenanigans. But there's another thing I haven't told you. When it comes here to our set, you can do something really sneaky. So there's this set here, which one is it? This one, the Aryat set. Now, this set, as on the 2 set, casting skills that swap weapons deals 80% increased damage. What if I told you, Whirlwind, as long as you proc it, and you don't stop channeling Whirlwind, you'll always have this 80% effect. Quite nice, isn't it? So the idea is to get one of those mythic charms that allows you to run one less set piece per set, right? And what that will allow you to do, hopefully, I'm not 100% certain if it works in game or not, because I've not been able to run it myself. I've seen some people have it on their on their tower clears, so I'm assuming it's working. I have not gotten one of them even, right, at this point. But you run that with a 4 set, with this thing in, doing the lunging weapon swap to get overpowered charges, and with Crown of Lucian, you will be gaining over 100% more damage than what we have right now. Right, we might be getting like 3 to 5 extra pit tiers just from that. Now, that's gonna be really hard to get. That's kind of the reason I'm only putting it for the push version. Whenever I'm able to actually run it, whenever I get the seal, right, and I'm able to actually run it and field test it, I'll put a video guide about it as well, and I'll have the written guide updated to have the push variation as well. So before you go away, one thing I do want to tell you, while you're trying to get into this build, if you are really early on, make sure to go to save white gloves and white pants and whatever unique you might want, but the gloves are the most important one, and go here to the cube and gamble here, upgrade to unique. This is how I got my gores. I gambled 2 or 3 gloves and I got my gores super early. I was Torment 4 something and I got my gores. It was really good, right? But besides that, gores, you can farm them on Grigor, Ramaladness, you can farm it on the Butcher. T-Bolt, sadly, I think, like I said earlier, I think they forgot to put it on a boss. It's not currently dropping from a boss at all. So it's a bit harder to get. But yeah, just run one that has strength and life. That should be easy enough to get. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for the guide. If you think I missed something, ask me down below on the comments. I'll always, you know, be around to answer them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build. Hope you have a good time with Whirlwind Supremacy right now. Make sure to, you know, hashtag Whirlwind Propaganda around Discord and stuff like that. It's finally our time to shine. We've been waiting ever since Season 0. It's finally back. We're finally in the limelight. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and sub to the channel if you like Whirlwind. You can go look in the channel. I'm not lying to you. This is a Whirlwind channel. Like 50% of the videos I have on this channel is Whirlwind. So I'm really excited for this season, and I'm gonna be pushing Whirlwind to the max, so make sure to join up to follow the journey. As always, I'll always be live on Twitch, and most of the time I'll also be live on YouTube if you wanna see how the progress is going. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and see you next time. Stay spinning. Bye bye.